Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by and good evening. Thank you for joining SOHU's first quarter 2021 earnings conference call. At this time, all participants are listen-only mode. After management's prepared remarks, there will be a question and answer session. Today's conference call is being recorded. If you have any objection, you may disconnect at this time. I'd like to turn the call over to your host for today's conference call, Investor Relations Director of SOHU. Please go ahead.
Thanks, operator. Thank you for joining us today to discuss SOHU's first quarter 2021 results. On the call are Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Charles Zhang, CFO Johnny Lu, and Vice President of Finance, James Deng. Also with us today are Changyou CEO Derwin Chen and CFO Yaobin Wang. Before management begins their prepared remarks, I would like to remind you of the company's safe harbor statement in connection with today's conference call. Except for the historical information contained herein, the matters discussed on this call may contain forward-looking statements. These statements are based on plans, estimates, and projections, and therefore you should not place undue reliance on them. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties. We caution you that a number of important factors could cause actual results to differ materially from those contained in any forward-looking statement. For more information about the potential risks and uncertainties, please refer to the company's filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, including the most recent annual report on Form 20-F. Please also be reminded that SOHU's results of operations have been excluded from our results from continuing operations. Retrospective adjustments to the historical statements have been made in order to provide a consistent basis of comparison. Unless indicated otherwise, the results that we talk about are related to continuing operations only. With that, I will now turn the call over to Dr. Charles Zhang. Charles, please proceed.
Thanks, Hong. Thank you to everyone for joining our call. In the first quarter of 2021, we continued to execute the operation strategy of last year and delivered better than we expected performance on the top line. In addition, we are happy to report positive non-GAAP net income of $37 million, which greatly exceeded our previous guidance. This was mainly attributable to our strict budget control and the solid performance of our online game businesses. In summary, for SOHU Media, we kept focusing on improving our products and technology, while at the same time stimulating content generation and social distribution. For SOHU Video, we made continuous progress producing both long-form original dramas and short-form live streaming content. Further, we integrated advanced live broadcasting technologies into our product matrix and applied these technologies to our content marketing campaigns. These campaigns not only effectively promoted the generation of premium content, but also attracted a lot of user attention as well as advertiser budgets. For Changyou, our online game business remained solid during the first quarter of 2021, with its revenue greatly exceeding our prior guidance. I'll go to more details about each of these businesses in a moment, but first, let's look at quick review our financial performance. For the first quarter of 2021, total revenues $222 million, up 24% year-over-year and down 12% quarter-over-quarter. Brand advertising revenues $31 million, up 20% year-over-year and down 26% quarter-over-quarter. Online game revenues $176 million, up 32% year-over-year and down 10% quarter-over-quarter. GAAP net income from continuing operations attributable to SOHU.com Limited was $32 million, compared with a net loss of $10 million in the first quarter of 2020 and net income of $47 million in the fourth quarter of 2020. Non-GAAP net income from continuing operations attributable to SOHU.com Limited was $37 million, compared with a net loss of $8 million in the first quarter of last year, and net income of $53 million in the fourth quarter of 2020. Now let me go through some of our key businesses. First of all, Media Portal and SOHU Video. We continue to upgrade our products and technology to stimulate high-quality content generation and further enhance social network distribution features. Based on our advanced live streaming technology, strong operating experience, and extensive media resources, we further burnished our credentials as a mainstream media platform. By distributing our premium content to the SOHU Media and SOHU Video platforms, we are attracting more exposure from viewers and advertisers, which is helping us to further diversify our revenue streams and explore new monetization opportunities. For example, in March, we successfully aired live streaming broadcasted the 13th SOHU News Marathon, which is a well-known event that we host with a variety of celebrities and pop stars. Leveraging our live broadcasting technology, we conducted more than 5 hours of non-stop real-time live shows. The premium content generated by this campaign successfully attracted a lot of attention and other advertising dollars as well. Through this event, we not only raised awareness of fitness and health, but also motivated users to create their own interactive content and promote it on SOHU's product matrix. For video, we continue to execute our twin engine strategy. For the long-form content in 2021, we released several original dramas, including the recent Mysterious Love, 他在你光中告白, which has become another big hit after the Well-Intended Love, 奈何报要娶我, about 2 years ago. So Mysterious Love combined both idol romance and crime scenes and was warmly welcomed by audiences. It has further broadened our leading position in these two categories and greatly boosted our user base and revenue. In terms of short-form content, we kept working hard on developing value live streaming content, which is where we disseminate professional knowledge and reliable information across various verticals. For example, we launched a live reality show called the New Year Celebration for the Chinese New Year holidays. The show consists of more than 40 live broadcasts and attracted a lot of KOLs who share their thoughts on multiple topics. Now let me turn to Changyou. For the first quarter of 2021, thanks to the latest updates that our team made to our in-game content, as well as a drop in travel as people were encouraged to stay in place for the Spring Festival, player engagement was better than expected. Our TLBB franchise remained stable and online game revenue exceeded our prior guidance. For PC games, revenue decreased on a sequential basis as TLBB Vintage revenue experienced a natural decline after it peaked following the game's initial launch. During the quarter, we improved TLBB Vintage by making a variety of enhancements based on player feedback. We also introduced some promotional events around the Spring Festival for the regular TLBB PC. For mobile games, we also launched a variety of Spring Festival-related events for Legacy TLBB Mobile, including giveaways for player engagement. These efforts helped Legacy TLBB Mobile perform better than we anticipated. Next quarter, Changyou will release new expansion packs and in-game events to celebrate the anniversary of regular TLBB PC and the Legacy TLBB Mobile. For TLBB Vintage, we plan to introduce a new dungeon and other special in-game content. In terms of pipeline, several key games are being developed and fine-tuned. We look forward to launching them later this year. Looking ahead, we will continue to execute our top game strategies, promote innovation and roll out more high-quality mobile games, including MMORPG games and other genres. Now, let me turn the call over to Joanna, our CFO, who will walk you through our financial results. Joanna.
Thank you, Charles. I will now walk you through the key financials of our major segments for the first quarter of 2021. All of the numbers that I will mention are all on a non-GAAP basis. You may find a reconciliation of non-GAAP to GAAP measures on our IR website. For SOHU Media Portal, quarterly revenues were $18 million, up 18% year-over-year and down 26% quarter-over-quarter. The quarterly operating loss was $31 million, compared with an operating loss of $23 million in the same quarter last year. For SOHU Video, quarterly revenues were $90 million, down 17% year-over-year and 15% quarter-over-quarter. The quarterly operating loss was $13 million, compared with an operating loss of $11 million in the same quarter last year. For Changyou, quarterly revenues, including 17173, $180 million, up 32% year-over-year and down 10% quarter-over-quarter. Changyou posted an operating profit of $101 million, compared with $56 million in the same quarter last year. For the second quarter of 2021, we expect brand advertising revenues to be between $36 million and $40 million, online game revenues to be between $134 million and $144 million, non-GAAP net income from continuing operations attributable to SOHU.com Limited to be between $8 million and $18 million, and GAAP net income from continuing operations attributable to SOHU.com Limited to be between $3 million and $13 million. This forecast reflects our current and preliminary view, which is subject to substantial uncertainties. Lastly, please be reminded that in the Q&A session, we won't take questions regarding any SOHU business updates or the agreements with Tencent for SOHU's privatization. This concludes our prepared remarks. Operator, we would now like to open the call to questions.
Thank you. As a reminder, to ask a question, you'll need to press star 1 on your telephone. And to withdraw your question, please press the pound or hash key. And please stand by while we compile the Q&A roster. Once again, it is star 1 to ask a question. Once again, please press star 1 for your questions. Our first question is from the line of Alicia Yap of Citi. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for taking my questions. Good evening, Charles, Joanna, and other management team. So I have two questions. The first one on the gaming outperformance. I think you mentioned a little bit the reasons. It's driven by the PC, TLBB, and all that. But I guess my question is more, when you gave out your guidance, I think because the actual gaming revenue came in much stronger than your guidance range. So just wondering, was the performance mainly, happened in March that prompted the quarter result came in stronger than what you guided, right, on the gaming revenue? And then with the 2Q sequential declines, obviously there might be some, drop off and all that. But given these promotion that TLBB Mobile may be launching the anniversary, shouldn't we also expect the game should be decent, rather than a decent sequentially scale back? So any color you can give on this gaming front, and then I have a question on the advertising.
Well, let me comment a little bit, and then Chen Zheng can answer. First of all, I think in the first quarter, the decline of TLBB PC Vintage is actually slower than we expected, right? Because we thought the TLBB Vintage peaked in Q4 last year, and then we expected it to decline faster, but actually happened is that probably people have so many for the vintage, for the old game, and so that's the reason why it's actually, and also because of the Spring Festival, that people are advised to stay in their city instead of going home. So that contributed to better than expected game revenue. So is that your question? And also you also want to know about the current quarter or the future, right? The mobile game.
That's right.
So 那就是说这个他刚才第一个问题我问了，回答就是说那么在第二季度或者未来的这个 game 在移动 game 或者方面的这种就觉得是不是预测的，因为第一季度预测的有点这个比这个出来的结果比预测的要好很多嘛？那未来的这个，
对，就如果二季度5月的周年资料片还不错的话，是不是？
那个 anniversary 是吧？你现在 anniversary 是这个是两个的，包括 mobile 和 TLBB PC 和 mobile 都是 anniversary 是吧？
经典是，
经典 Legacy。
总体来讲呢，第二季度的呢，那个天龙手游呢应该会略有下降，因为第一季度呢，因为这个大家都在家过年的这个原因，可能就是使得它显得收入比较高。但是第二季度呢，传统来讲，第二季度呢，我们虽然会上线一个资料片或者类似的隐身 pack， 但是总体来讲还是因为那个前期的消费比较高，所以后期到第二季度可能大家消费热情就会有所下降。那么对于这个端游来讲呢，就是天龙的经典版呢也会经历类似的一个过程。那么那个怀旧呢，因为那个还是一个自然下滑的一个状态，所以总体来讲呢，第二季度呢可能下滑的情况目前来看会比第一季度下滑的要多一些。
Okay.
Hi Alicia. Yeah. Sorry. Please let me briefly translate the answer. And for Legacy TLBB Mobile, because we had less travel in the first quarter due to people were encouraged to stay in place during the Spring Festival. So we had a high base in the first quarter. So in the second quarter, although we will have expansion packs for both mobile and our PC TLBB games, but the games will facing natural declines in the second quarter. And for Vintage, especially, it peaked after the initial launch. So in the second quarter, it will decline furthermore compared with during the first quarter. Thank you.
I see. Thank you. I have a second question on the online advertising regarding the second quarter guidance. It seems like the year-over-year guidance of -5% to +5%, it doesn't sound it is strong enough. So I'm just wondering, because we should be benefiting from the secular recovery trend, and also last year the COVID impact should also affect the first half as well. So just any color you can provide in terms of the second quarter, and just broadly also wondering if Charles or management team could comment the overall ad sentiment recently, given the regulatory headwinds, this upcoming 100 years anniversary and these Olympic Games. So there are positive and negative external environments. So how will that impact the general ad budget that you're seeing? Thank you.
I think compare with last year Q2, right? The Q2 of 2020 is a rebound, right? So we had a strong Q2 in 2020.
Yeah.
Then, but this year, the overall economy, macroeconomic situation is actually not that good. Especially there's, I would say, a shortage of mobile chips for auto, right? So some auto companies, car companies are just they don't have enough products or cars to sell to the market, so they don't spend as much. So that's why compared with the Q2 last year, the Q2 2021 seems not a good strong quarter. And also because the revenue base of our advertising base is so small, so it's not I think not much things to do with what happened recently with the e-commerce platform and also the 100-year celebration.
I see. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Charles.
Okay.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Thomas Chong of Jefferies. Please go ahead. Your line is open.
Hi, Charles. Thanks, management, for taking my questions. I have a question regarding our content strategies. Can Charles comment about how we think about the content distribution, and other measures like live streaming, etc. How it actually help to drive the user and the engagement, and on that front, how we should think about the advertising revenue growth or the user trend in 2021. And then my second question is relating to the cost side. Can Charles also comment about how we should think about the OPEX and the cost for our SOHU portal and the video business going forward? Thank you.
Yeah, I think the advertising revenue will depend so much on the user base. So that's why we need to grow our user base and to grow until we grow our user base much faster. Our revenue, we have this unique activities like events or content. It's considered a content generation events like our SOHU News Marathon and also the Snow Mountain Expedition that we're going to do this quarter, and all these major events. It's a part of content, and also the live streaming turn these activities into a real-time event and attract users. But in terms of content distribution, we are exploring basically like everyone else, we're doing the information stream like AI or computer algorithm distribution. But we are choosing. We also have that, but we are choosing the social network distribution as our battleground to distribute our content, either our short form, either video or a text content. So that's so our live streaming technology that become the central platform for our matrix, product matrix to turn our event or the activity into a content event, also attract advertisers and the users. But in the long run, we rely on whether we are able to successfully to distribute our content through social network means, not by this algorithm distribution, but the social network distribution, both our video content and also text content. So we launched a few social network products within our app, the SOHU News app and SOHU Video app. So until that, so basically we're growing our user base organically without us spending a lot of money, but by improving technology and products and the distribution. So in terms of cost, it will remain similar. Basically, the sort of cost. Since we're not spending a lot of money on channel promoting on others, but so the cost will remain the same, and then the revenue side will also be similar until we successfully basically build this social network features can the user base explode. I hope I explained to you clearly.
Got it. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you. Once again, for those who wish to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephones. Once again, it is star 1 for your questions. Once again, to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephones. Next question is from the line of Eddie Leung of Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hey, good evening, guys. Thank you for taking my question. Just a follow-up question on advertising. Charles, when you answered Alicia's questions, you mentioned that one of the kind of like issues for the on-advertising pieces was the automobile advertisers, right? So could you remind us some of the top advertising industries at the moment for SOHU? And could you also give us some color on their kind of like their sentiment or their budgeting process for the rest of the year from conversations between your sales team and these key client industries? Thank you.
Yeah, as you pointed out, actually the top advertising industry is auto industry, and then auto industry because of the shortage of the chips. So the chips for cars, for vehicle, for automobiles. So the production amount of all these car manufacturers are actually decreased. So they're not looking at a lot of. So that's why the top advertising industry, auto industry, are spending less in the quarters ahead. So that's why we're having a kind of a hard time. So and that's why we need to have a unique advertising with less budget, and then we have to provide a unique solution for their brand marketing campaign from brand marketing, like using the live streaming events and also organize the content activities to
Charles, could you also give us some color on some of the other important advertiser industries? For example, any trend you can share with us on some of the, let's say, the FMCG brands or the financial services sector, et cetera. Thank you.
Yeah, that's FMCG and others. That's the industries that actually we can explore, and then probably they don't have this problem, chips problem. So I think the situation is better in other industries. So we are working hard on to get those advertisers, FMCG, like this, and also luxury goods and a lot of others, so electronics, ITs, and all this. Yeah.
Understand.
More.
Thank you very much.
A better picture.
Got that.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Jason Nectar of MT Capital. Please go ahead. Line is open.
Hi, thank you for taking my question, Charles. My question is, what steps are you taking to support the stock price, given that it's trading at 2/3 of incoming cash? This would imply the entire company without this cash is worth negative. Can you please elaborate?
Well, we don't have that much cash, right? We only have, we have 300 million, 327 million US dollars cash. The market cap is like twice that or less. Yeah, it's, I think the stock price, well, I think we need to demonstrate, growth potential, right? So that's why, as I said, that we need to explore and to do it successfully, to build this social network platform, to distribute content and to develop social networks with our current apps, and to grow user base to a much larger scale, in a larger user base, so that we can get more market share of advertising, brand advertising market share, and also to market our own products, like market our TV, our dramas, right? And also, even if SOHU build our own platform with much larger user base, I think Changyou can also benefit, because we'll sell Changyou's, promote Changyou within our own matrix. It will be the cost will be zero. We won't have any cost or revenue sharing. Promotion expenses. So until we prove that we can build our social network successfully and have its exponential growth, social networks are basically grow exponentially, but it's like building a chain reaction, and also kind of building a atomic bomb. It needs a chain reaction. So until we do that and then grow our user base exponentially, so our growth potential will remain at the current pace, so that the investors are now excited. So in other words, basically, to support our stock price, we need to demonstrate a hyper growth, right? And then the stock price will improve.
Yes, thank you. I was referring more to the incoming cash with the potential merger, the $1+ billion in cash.
Okay, so that, as we said, we don't talk about this because it's still, we don't speculate in what we'll do with more cash, because the deal is still not done.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Alex Ko of Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, management, for taking my question. Management, you mentioned that there's key game launches still fine tuning, and also we'll introduce more MMORPG games probably later this year. So can we provide more granularity on the game pipeline, such as which games are license approved, or any most anticipated game launch? Thank you.
未来的这个
重点游戏，对 MMO 啊，还有其他的上线时间和预期。
更一点的未来推出的。
俄罗斯方块黄油记这个是腾讯发行，在7月份。然后还有一个是璀璨星途，也是一个女性向的剧情游戏，也是腾讯发行，预计是在8月份左右。然后呢，畅游代理的这个小浣熊百将传，6月份会做一次测试，如果测试数据 OK 的话，估计也就在Q3会发行。这是一个卡牌挂机卡牌游戏。还有这个黎明之海是畅游智研的一个 MMORPG， 预计在今年年底或者明年年初上线。还有新天龙八部也是一个智研的 MMORPG， 是腾讯发行的，预计在今年年底或者是明年年初上线。
We have a couple of key products to be launched later this year or next year. First one should be Tetris Adventure. It will be published by Tencent and expect to be launched in July. And the second one is Bright Star. It's a female-oriented game and licensed by Tencent and expect to launch it in August this year. The other one is a card game called Little Raccoon, and we will do a round of testing. We just got the license approval, so we can proceed to the monetization testing in June. If the results are okay, then we will publish by ourselves in the third quarter. It's a card game. And for MMOs, Sea of Dawn is a self-developed key MMORPG. We plan to launch it at the end of this year or early next year. And the next one is the next generation of TLBB mobile. We haven't decided the official name yet, but it will be published by Tencent as well, and also the end of this year or next year. Thank you.
就叫新天龙。
New TLBB.
谢谢关于。
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the conference for today, and thank you for participating. You will now all disconnect.